turn this into something positive and maybe it'll spread.
He's the most positive person on his job. Now you're cured.
I feel good.
Welcome to Positively Milwaukee. Christmas is over, but the generosity we saw over the holiday season will have an impact for a long time. Andrea Albers spoke to a group in Cedarburg that's using Facebook to spread love to people in need.
Heaps of Amazon packages are a familiar sight around Christmas, but these packages are headed somewhere very special.
I think a lot of people felt that in 2020. They just had kind of personal rough years, and maybe it made them realize that other people had rougher years than they did.
Stacy Oakes is the founder of a Facebook group called Cedarburg Women for Christmas Cheer. She started it in 2020, and now the group has more than 400 members.
At the end of the thing, I probably only knew about a quarter of the people that were participating in it. So it was a bunch of strangers, and to watch other people get excited and add other people to the group and keep it snowballing was really cool.
Stacy says the group wanted to focus on helping other women, like at the Milwaukee Women's Center. Shelter manager Shamika May says her staff need a lot of support.
Because we solely, work off of donations and grants.
Last year, Stacy and the Women for Christmas Cheer gave out $100 Kohl's gift cards to all of the women at the shelter. This year, they did it again, donating enough money for 100 gift certificates, toys for the kids, and handwritten Christmas cards from the classroom of one of the women in the group.
Sometimes a lot of us get very emotional because we get excited to see all of the stuff that we have to give to the family, and especially the children. We have enough donations to give the children sometimes 2 to 3, 4 to 5 different items, which it makes us feel great.
I think our goal was just to make them feel special and give them something that gave them some worth and really was something that was all theirs that they looked forward to.
But Shamika says generosity like this is about more than just gifts.
It makes people, women and children and families here feel like, oh, people are thinking about us during the holidays. When they could be doing something else, they took the time to make sure that we had something to be thankful for.
And we love to hear that. Stacy and the rest of the Cedarburg Women for Christmas Cheer have the generosity bug, and despite the group's name, the women have sponsored donation drives year-round. And over the summer, they actually help get some new playground equipment for the shelter, so there's really never a bad time to help those in need. Well, maybe you've always wanted to be a knight in shining armor, or you're just looking for something fun to do this weekend. James Groh shows us a new Milwaukee business that'll have you feeling like an expert swordsman.
Woo! These can really push back. That's how you do it.
Pause. That's me, James Groh, a foam sword fighting champion. But let me take you back and explain what all of this is.
It's sort of like laser tag meets Game of Thrones.
It's called MagnaTag. It was invented in Milwaukee by Adam Cohen.
This is your armor, and when you put it on, you feel like some sort of Yakuza cyber samurai.
You can play it at Bounce Milwaukee on the city's south side. They actually did license their technology to a large toy manufacturer, and you can buy it in stores like Target, but it's not nearly the same as playing it here.
We obviously want to be something that people know about and play and are super excited to play all over the country and the world.
You have armor and a sword. The point is to hit the armor. The swords are stiff but still soft and won't hurt. They are both magnetized, and an electronic scorekeeper tells you when you've been hit. There was no chance I wasn't going to challenge the creator of the game to a battle.
All of my sword fighting with my brothers is coming into play right now.
Did you see that?
I'll be honest, he was a strong foe. We only have 7 lives, and he was winning 4-1. But I don't go down easily.
The comeback is 9 for the clan of TMJ4. That's how you do it. So if you think you can beat me, you want to challenge the champ, you know where to find me. Bounce Milwaukee.
It seems like a lot of fun and maybe a good workout. Looked like James had one. Now, if you'd like to try MagnaTag yourself, we do have a link at tmj4.com. Well, every one of us has made mistakes, but true character lies in how each of us handles those mistakes. Tony Atkins talked to a woman who's getting a second look at life thanks to Wisconsin's governor.
Marcy Gibson still in awe looking at what's in her hands, an official pardon from Governor Tony Evers.
I read it and my heart just dropped. I couldn't believe it.
At 17, Marcy made a tough decision. Shortly after losing her mother, she turned to selling drugs to stay off the streets and homelessness.
It's just crazy that I had to do that at 17.
One sale was to an undercover officer. She was convicted and set for sentencing when she learned she was pregnant with her first son.
I decided to go to every court date except for the sentencing date. You know, I was scared that they was going to take my son, and that was all I had.
Marcy was eventually caught and sentenced to a year in prison plus 5 years probation. All this while raising a 6-year-old son.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was my first time ever away from him.
Now, more than 2 decades later, Marcy has turned her life around. She's a businesswoman running her own daycare and the mom of 3 boys in a stable home. With this pardon, she's hoping for an even brighter future.
You know, I deserved it. You know, I ain't did nothing since. I've been in school constantly, all type of degrees, and it was just, I'm glad I took out the time to do it.
Wonderful. And Marcy is not the only one with a clean slate. Governor Evers has pardoned 337 people during his tenure, the most in Wisconsin's history. Coming up after the break, it is never too late to finish your education, and a local organization is helping people do that. Plus, we're going to introduce you to an event planner who is doing so much more than throwing parties. He plans events and parties for some of the most high-profile businesses and people in the Milwaukee area. David Caruso is celebrating 2 decades of entertaining Milwaukee with his company, Dynamic Events. But he tells me some of his most gratifying work involves helping others. The wedding of a lifetime.
Our wedding was put together by the 2 of us to be what we called an explosion of joy. It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we were all going to experience together, and we really wanted it to be so different and over the top, but in a way that it was just going to be a life moment for every person there, that until they died, it would be something that they would remember. And that's what we did, and people still talk about it.
An unforgettable 40th birthday party.
But the true calling is that he really, really just wants everyone to dream big and to feel celebrated.
Just some of the magic surrounding event planner David Caruso. The CEO and owner of Dynamic Events is celebrating 20 years of dazzling Milwaukee guests. One important duty this year, pivoting for the pandemic.
We knew we needed to be outside, and we are outside at the end of February in winter in Wisconsin.
Caruso shares his secret for his impressive displays.
It really is about telling the stories of people and places and organizations, and it really is a lot of fun, and it has a lot of impact, which I love.
You really capture the essence of people. And how do you do that?
Well, I call it figuring out the heart and soul of a party.
Now, have you ever gone to a charity event that was not put on by David Caruso that you thought, oh, they blew it?
Wow, this is like the hot seat now. And it is a good question. I definitely don't judge in any way, but sometimes what I think about is certain times they're missing the potential.
Caruso admits at the center of his joy is to help charitable events, like the Giving Circle sponsored by the Aurora Healthcare Foundation. It provides care for survivors of sexual and domestic violence. Caruso helped to found the group.
One of the things that brings me the most joy is contributing to this community that I grew up in. You know, I have lived here my whole life. I'm 46, and I even went to college at Marquette, and it's been my life.
And this design dynamo came in first place in the Donut Smackdown that raised money for local agencies. Caruso raised more than $11,000 in 9 days.
I think the community engagement has been the most meaningful to me. And I just got done. You are now talking to the champion of the Donut Smackdown.
Congratulations.
Which, thank you. I did take #1 place in fundraising for the United Way of Greater Milwaukee and Waukesha County.
And his style perfection could be seen early on. Here's David as a little boy, and here he is today, looking quite the same, adorable. Caruso says Mom always encouraged his creative side.
She didn't mind that I dabbled in things that maybe weren't so like boy-like or weren't as, I never was in sports and I really wanted to do theater and I was taking tap dance lessons and, you know, doing things creatively that she knew, like, just let them be. I just have figured out that being me is great, and thankfully people accept it and have appreciated it, and I can use the talents that I've been given to just influence how other people experience their life with a big dash of style and a lot of fun.
David Caruso, a Milwaukee legend, giving thousands the chance to enjoy captivating elegance and make memories they can share for years. David Caruso proving that true satisfaction in life comes from following our hearts and giving others a piece of our joy.
When someone's on the right train, doing the right thing that they're meant to do, you can't knock them off. I know I'm doing the right thing in a way that contributes to the lives of other people.
What a blessing to have him in our area. David says he considers it a privilege to serve the people in his hometown, and we are thankful you are here. Well, January is in full swing, and coming up after the break, some top New Year's resolutions in our area. But first, you're going to meet our Positively Milwaukee Pet of the Week.
Hi, I'm Johanna at Hawes, and today you might be wondering what I have on my lap. Today I have friends who are Positively Milwaukee. These are two of our adoptable rats, Lily and Rosie, and they are about 8 months old. They have lived in a family with kids and have been around other animals. They're very curious and sweet girls. They are what we call a bonded pair, which means that it's a buy one, get one situation. You adopt both of them together because they're social animals. This is best for their health and survival. Also, if you have a New Year's resolution this year to help animals or rescue animals, one thing you can do is maybe you're not in the position to adopt Rosie and Lily or any other animals here at Hawes, but you could do something like sponsoring an adoption. So these girls have a sponsored adoption that was sponsored by one of our volunteers. Or you could do what I did when they first came into Hawes, which is foster them. These girls are actually two of my former foster rats. That's a couple of different ways that you could achieve a Hawes New Year's resolution and keep it Positively Milwaukee.
Welcome back. We know reading is so important for kids' development, but reading is much more fun when kids can see themselves in the story. Sarah McGrew shows us a new bookstore that's working to make that happen.
Ashley Valentine is filling these blank walls with big ideas.
This wall here is going to be more kids and adolescent titles.
The former MPS teacher with a background in special education is opening a children's bookstore dedicated to stories about and by people of color.
I wanted to make sure that first my kids had a place that they could go that they knew that they weren't just represented in like a small space, but that the space was completely dedicated to them and showcasing a wide range of stories.
Right now there's just a handful of Black-owned bookstores in Wisconsin. Rooted MKE will add to that list. Ashley says it's important that diverse books make it onto the shelves of every home.
You don't have to be a person of color to be able to experience a story that's about a character of color. However you make books your favorite in your households, that books of color should also be a part of those titles.
One of her favorites?
And anytime somebody asks me what book I should get, Akisi. It's a book, it's a 3-book series about a girl who lives in the Ivory Coast, and she just always is getting in trouble.
But there's more to the store than just the books themselves.
I wanted to use my literacy background for more than just making recommendations.
Families can find tutoring at Rooted MKE as well as a maker's space.
Kids can come in and also pick out a skill that they want to work on related to the book, and they could come over to the maker space and then be able to create something that allows them to work on the comprehension strategies.
She hopes her store becomes a gathering space for families all across the city.
And we hope so too. The bookstore is set to open on West Fleet Street this month. Now, if you are interested in Rooted MKE's tutoring services, sign up on their Facebook page. We do have a link on our website. Finishing high school is an important milestone, but for a lot of reasons, some young people just can't quite get there. Julia Fellow shows us a program that's helping people finish their education thanks to a big financial boost.
Khalees Majors is part of the latest class to graduate with her high school equivalency degree. 3 weeks after delivering her baby boy, Grayson.
You still went to graduation. You weren't going to miss that, huh?
Not a chance. Not a chance in the world. I was tired of making excuses. Like, my son was that final push.
She went through 4 years of school in 4 months through a program at YWCA, Southeast Wisconsin. Gateway Technical College instructors helped teach classes there since 2017.
They were very patient and understanding. They knew who they were dealing with.
Oftentimes there's a misperception out there that students are just kind of sitting around not doing anything, but many of our students are working, many of our students have family, they have lives outside of school.
Because of COVID, the program reached more people than ever before online.
Students were now bringing sisters into the program, mothers into the program, husbands and wives are coming into the program.
To date, Gateway and YWCA's collaboration has helped nearly 500 people graduate. State leaders took notice and just awarded them $5.6 million to keep going.
When you heard that you guys were awarded that grant, that it's going through, what did you think? What did you first think?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, we did it. So yes, so.
We anticipate over the course of the next 3 years serving 1,300 people in Kenosha, Racine, and Walworth counties.
And the outcomes are already remarkable. A study by YWCA just conducted showed out of 127 recent graduates interviewed, 90% indicated plans to go on to post-secondary education.
But even more important than that is to note that over 51% already have.
This includes Khalees.
I'm a CNA right now. I want to be an RN within the next 2 years.
To take it to the next level is absolutely thrilling for us. We know we're going to impact so many more lives.
We used to joke amongst ourselves that imagine if we had $1 million, when now we have $5.6 million.
Giving us all a new push to share. It is never too late for anyone, anywhere in Southeast Wisconsin.
We always need to remember that. 4 years of school in 4 months, very impressive. The program is still accepting students, and you might not even need to take a test to get in. We do have more information about that for you. Go to our Positively Milwaukee Facebook group page. The holidays are over, the new year is here, and for a lot of us, that means self-reflection. So we wanted to ask you, what's your New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution was to be better as a person. Try to correct my flaws as a man.
To be consistent with life, so wake up and be real consistent with everything I'm doing. Never lack, don't lack of anything I'm doing, but be consistent.
Actually, good health for all and for my family. Why not?
Travel more, all over national parks in America. Yeah, I haven't done it in a while.
Advance my art career. I do pet portraits. It'd be nice to work on that more and to make it into something bigger.
To be more genuine with everything I do and say. Put in more effort in friendships.
I'm a noodle, so work out. Yeah, get buff, get swole.
It's already done. I've got a condo in Florida, and so that's my New Year's. It's not a revolution or an evolution. It's a fact.
Well, I like that. That man is ahead of the game. And I think most of us, we're still working on our resolutions. And if you have a resolution that you'd like to share or a question you want us to ask next week, just go to our Positively Milwaukee Facebook group and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Almost 400 baby birds, fluffy and always chirping. They were all born at We Energies and Wisconsin Public Service sites over the years. And those peregrine falcon chicks are our first reason to smile this morning. Well, last year, 11 new falcons were born at those sites. 2 were named Fauci and Beaker. That, of course, to honor doctors and scientists during the pandemic. Now, here's a fun fact for you. Just over 2,000 peregrine falcons have been born in the wild in Wisconsin since the 80s. And that means We Energies and WPS sites account for 20% of the statewide total chicks. Now, that is very important because we have to get these birds off the endangered species list. Well, falcons aren't the only things flying high in Wisconsin. If you'll believe it, trucks, they also can fly. Monster Truck Jam is back at Fiserv Forum this weekend. The famous Grave Digger will be there along with a lot of really other cool vehicles. Not too late to catch the show today. We have a link at tmj4.com. I'll be back with my quote of the week. Welcome back. The cost of liberty is less than the price of repression. Our quote this week comes from W.E.B. Du Bois. Du Bois was the first African-American man to earn a doctorate degree. He eventually became a professor at Atlanta University and was instrumental in forming the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Du Bois specifically argued against using the word black in the organization's title. He wanted to make sure it supported all dark-skinned people. He knew that until everyone was equal, his work was not done. Du Bois spent his life working to lift others into liberty. And I hope you can find a way to do the same. Lift the people in your life. It's one of the best ways to stay positively Milwaukee.